Okay, cool. So we're live. I'm just gonna check in here to see who's with us so far. I can
Hey, everybody.
this. Okay. And go live. Okay. All right. We should be good. To those watching at home, my name's Zachary Straub. I'm the founder and owner of Straub Creative Company based out of Buffalo, New York. And the long story short is we do web design and graphic design, pretty much anything you can think with technology, design, and art. That's what we do. And I had the luxury of working with Sarah this last fall on rebuilding her website. And I'll let her talk a little bit about that. But we're here to talk to you about websites and creativity and what it's like to be entrepreneurs in the Buffalo area. And yeah, Sarah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Zachary. My name is Sarah Hakel, and I am an entrepreneur. I work with people mainly through the body movement and breathing exercises to connect you more with your body so we can sync up the mind-body connection and you can be fully empowered and feeling juicy and good in your life in every area. The work that I'm doing currently is really revolving around sex and sensuality in an empowered and embodied and conscious way with couples and with women. So I'm the leader of the Sensual Body Movement. And I also teach yoga, and I'm a certified professional life coach, as well as a Latin dancer, hip hop, breakdance, West African dancer, and freeform body mover. So I have a lot of different aspects to my business, and that was part of what Zachary was really supporting me with, was helping to kind of bring all of that closer together and create a website that was really up-leveled from what I had before so that I could really reach people and speak more to their wants and needs and also share my offerings with the world. So, and it's been an amazing journey and great joy working with Zachary. So just really excited to share a little bit more about the process with all of you.
Yeah. So I think this is in really good timing too, because the whole webinar is Google is changing its algorithm to favor sites that are more mobile and responsive on phone and tablet. And Sarah, your site from the ground up was completely built for phone and tablet and for any screen that looks at it. So right off the bat, just in timing with this, if you have any competitors in the Buffalo area that are, using older platforms or they have older websites, chances are you're going to start seeing their rankings go down for certain keywords. And, your site is very likely to start climbing up just because, we followed the rules. We just did what Google asked them to do.
Right.
Yeah. And let me take everyone back too. I mean, when I first began working with Sarah, it was, I felt immediately it was the perfect connection because Sarah had a lot of ideas. She was very motivated. She had a vision in mind for what she wanted. And for me, as the person who does the technology and the design, I feel like it's my responsibility never to be the person in the leadership chair. I feel like I'm supposed to be the person that helps support. I feel like I'm the person that is supposed to help build and help guide and, just make sure we're on the right track. But ultimately, how I do business is I want the client and I want the people that I work with to be in the leadership chair so I can support them in whatever it is that they're doing. And like I said in the very beginning, Sarah had a lot of ideas. We had a lot of information. And probably over a month or two, going into 3 months, we were able to chop down a lot of information and just make sense of it. And then, we were able to create the website that's now at sarahhakel.com.
Mm-hmm.
And, for anybody who's been there already, you can tell like there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of value. There's a lot of content that, discusses all the things that Sarah just went over. But at the same time, like it makes sense. I feel like when we were building this, we had to make sure that all of that information that was going to go into the site, like it had to ultimately make sense. That's why we have a page just for dance and a page just for life coaching and a page just for yoga. And, of course, her about page and all those other things. Sarah, can you talk about your experience a little bit? And I guess did you run into any hurdles, frustrations, tensions? How do we work through them? Like, how do you feel about the website now? I know we just made some updates last night too.
Yes. And Zachary, just what's coming forward on a technical tip, are we recording this just in case people want to watch it again?
Oh, yeah. This is being recorded right now on YouTube, so we can share the link when it's done.
Great. Okay, cool. Zachary is the Google Hangout master right now, and I am learning from him in this moment. So yeah, it has absolutely been an interesting process, and I resisted this. Zachary and I spoke in last summer, and I knew it was time to uplevel my website. Of course, coming from the coaching world and the online business world, I see a lot of websites that pretty much look the same, and they have a very basic layout, and they offer pretty basic things, but they're functional, they work well, they're clear. And when I got together with Zachary, I think it was a new experience for the both of us. I don't know, Zach, if you've ever created a website for someone in kind of the line of business that I'm in. Would you say that's correct, or?
Similar, but different. Yeah, like right. in the sense that it's, it's creative, it's kind of like, body related, but nothing in your line of industry now.
Right. So I think it was a learning exploration for the both of us. And I know that, Zachary was like, okay, let's get this started. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I got to do a lot of editing with my copy. I've got to and it really was an investment in my time. And I knew that it was going to be. And so I was resisting it. And once we started the ball rolling, we had a couple of really good conversations. I committed, started revising my copy, started filling in the blanks. Zachary was very helpful in providing me with all of the blanks that I needed to. Hello. Oh, Miss Laura Aisha has just arrived. She's going to say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Twin
Laura.
sister Laura Aisha. Check her out.
I'm using Zachary as well. Zach, you rock, my man.
Thank you.
You can use profanity if you want. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm going to send, hang on, Laura's just, it's right on my Facebook page. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. She's going to jump on. So,
okay.
Zachary, really instrumental in giving me all the blanks that you needed me to fill in, which for a creative entrepreneur that is out there flying in the ethers in idea land and creativity land and anchoring me down to get stuff done and, clearly find that path forward, it can be a challenge. So Zach, you really supported me in that. And I found that once the ball started rolling, it's just like life. I call them when the veil lifts moments, like veil lifting moments. We would do one thing and it would lift another veil, and we would see something else that needed to be done. And then we do that and it would lift another layer of the process so that we could keep moving forward. And it's amazing to see how the website now, how it is. I mean, it's beautiful, it's sexy and sleek, and the functionality of it is improving. We're already Zachary made some updates for me this week to just help continue to improve the functionality of it. I welcome your feedback as well. and comments, all of the viewers here. If there's something that you love, if there's something you could see could be better, I think that both Zachary and I are learning from and through this experience. So ultimately, our goal, right, was to make it work for the viewers, and just communicate the message clearly so people could access what they wanted and feel really good about it.
Yep. And that reminds me of just kind of like a top point that I feel like a lot of websites, either before they're getting built or a lot of older websites that I've seen hanging around now, especially in the Buffalo area, is, one of the number one things that I see wrong with websites is, the folks that are creating the content, the folks that are making those decisions of how design is laid out and everything, most of the time they can't get out of their own way. The ultimate goal is to make sure that whoever's visiting your website, whether that's your ideal customer, your prospect, a lead, whoever, give them something to do immediately when they get there. Make sure that whatever it is that they're interested in, it's right in front of them. So, for your website example, if people go right to the site, they can immediately tell right in the very top, it's in Buffalo, New York. It relates to dance, yoga, and life coaching. And that's why those links are right there at the top. And people can always see those, no matter what page, they're sitting on. So, I mean, that's just like a core example. It goes a lot deeper than that too, depending on, the pages that you have, how many pages you have, what kind of content is going on there. One of the things I try to do is create like a call to action right when people get to the website. And we were able to do that with your site, Sarah, is right underneath the slider. There's, the email sign up is right there. So it's like, even if that person only has, 10 seconds to just check out the website really quick, it's like there's a call to action right there, and they can go ahead, put their information in if they're interested. Otherwise, the rest of the homepage leads them throughout different parts of the website. What I've seen happen a lot is sometimes you go to websites and you'll just see a wall of text, and it's like, not everyone's going to want to read that. In most of the analytics that I've looked at for, like websites that I manage, for, older websites that I have to rebuild, you have like 0 to 10 seconds. Honestly, like 0 is an actual factor. You have 0 to 10 seconds to capture somebody's attention, and to get them to do something. And if you don't do that, then they're gone forever. So having those calls to action in the very beginning are super important. You have, big images, big rich media, you have videos. All those things should be forward facing right when someone gets to the site. And I think we did that. We were able to accomplish that very well on your site. I'm looking forward to helping Laura with hers, because she has a ton of videos. So it's like it's going to make things interesting for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because in my mind, I'm already thinking about like how the website is going to continue to evolve. As soon as the website was launched, I got more clarity about my business focus. And isn't it funny?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is almost how it seems to work.
Yep.
There's like all this energy forward, right? And then it's like, oh wow, now I'm even more clear about
it's
what I'm focusing on.
It's kind of like applying for the job, and even though you get it, like if you get the job, you don't feel like you get it until you start it. And you probably don't feel like you actually understand it until like 2 or 3 months in. At least that's been my experience. But it's the same. It's kind of the same thing with websites too. It's, in the very beginning, we're always trying to push for an MVP, a minimal viable product, something that we're comfortable showing the rest of the world. We know it's not done yet, but as long as it's there, because once, you're right, like once it becomes public, once people start engaging with it, then it kind of just adds like a little fire underneath, and, says to us, hey, we got to get this thing right. People are looking at this right now. Whereas if it's just sitting online, it's like, we can entertain details till, you know, the end of time. And there's no consequence. But yeah, you were really good in. I'm glad we were on the same page about that, because it was like I said before, we had so many details to work through between, you know, the catalog of products and services you had, the different services you had, the shopping cart, all the images, all the media that went with it, all the copy that went with it, and like through the whole time you were like, you know, we got to get this thing launched by this date, and we kept setting dates, and that was incredibly important. I've had some projects drag on for months and months and months because like in the beginning when I was still learning this stuff, it's like we didn't set up dates, and it was just like, you know, the exact opposite happened.
Well, and you know, this shows my learning as an entrepreneur too. I love that you're saying this, Zachary, because I was inspired by a fellow coach in the business, Greg Faxon. Here, Zachary and I are working on the website. Nobody knows. No one in my community knows. I haven't told anyone. And all of a sudden I get an email from my friend Greg saying, getting ready to launch the new site in 3 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, like I need to tell my community that this is happening. Like, and it really inspired me to set a date. And I think I emailed Zachary right away and said, okay, I think we need to set a launch date, because we need a timeline and we need a goal. I need a goal to get all this done. And let's set a date, and I'm going to start promoting it and telling people. And boom, it was like such an awesome way to share with my community and also build some buzz around it and build some hype and energy and get Zachary's name out there, and just like for us to support each other in this way, like, hey, we're actually working on this really huge project and we want you to be a part of it. So it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love, Sarah, you were talking about, you know, the community engagement, and I feel like a lot of brands, you know, miss out on that. Is and really it's kind of this fine balance, because I've seen successful projects where it's an individual or two and they can get so much done in such a short amount of time, but they don't tell anyone. So it's like they go far and they go fast, but they don't bring anyone with them. And I've seen, you know, other projects that, you know, follow like the older traditional business models where like bureaucracy is a big thing and everyone's got a hand in the cookie jar. It's like everyone's involved, but the project never gets done. So it's like you got to find somewhere right in the middle. And I think that's where, you know, social media and having followers and lists comes in handy, so you can contact your list and tap into your network at any time and just say, you know, instead of just saying, hey, we're launching our new website in a few weeks, you were really cool about this. You said, hey, we're launching our website. We want to know what you think. We want, you know, your eyes to be like the first eyes that is looking at the website. And we want to hear directly from you. And we were able to do that on Facebook. We said, hey, we launched the website, and we had some people commenting and they were like, hey, it looks great. It looks great. But this was the great thing too. There were a couple people that were having like some technical issues and they told us about it. Whereas before, you and I, we just didn't know.
Right.
So in that case, like, you know, you involving your network from the very beginning gave us a lot of value in making sure that the design worked, and that it was, you know, it was speaking to the most amount of people possible.
Yeah. And, you know, what I want to express, if we can change tracks just a little bit, is talking about the importance of having a website. And I'm, you know, relatively new to the online world of entrepreneurship. I have been building a local business here in Buffalo, New York and Western New York for 6.5 years, almost 7 years this October. And at first it was a part-time business. I was working part-time elsewhere. And over the years, I had about 1.5 years where I went solely with my business. Then I needed to earn some extra income. And now I've been with my business for about 1.5 years solely as well. So, I'm completely earning my living, doing what I feel really inspired to do in the world. And what else? There was something else also that came to my mind, just talking about your last point. I'll see if that resurfaces again. But yeah, I just created my first website on WordPress.com, and just created a simple WordPress website. I didn't even own the URL yet, so it was like Sarah Hakel at .wordpress.com or whatever. And I started blogging actively. I just had all of these ideas coming forward. So I really just created a blog platform and had information about my classes, in-person classes. And I did start to build some online classes as well. And just to see, people that I had never heard of from other places in the country, maybe in the world, started reading my blogs. Like, popular bloggers were reading my blogs. Like, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, and it's interesting because once I switched to WordPress.org, that changed. I don't know what happens when you go from .com to .org, but things have shifted. But in the meantime, I've become a guest blogger for owningpink.com and Huffington Post. And, I've continued to get my reach out there. But one of the most amazing things is that people that I'm not connected with through social media, and I don't know if they're seeing me anywhere else except for finding me online by searching specifically for like couples dance classes or yoga or dance in Buffalo, New York. Like, people are finding me specifically because of my website and because of my Google business page, which leads to the website. And they're signing up for my classes. They're contacting me. Like, it's amazing. Yep. Because I put a lot of energy into social media marketing and my email list, building my, tribe, and just reaching out to the people that are interested in my work. And then to find that people are finding me that don't even know about me and actually engaging in my services is so enlivening. Mm-hmm. It's like this whole other, I'm tapping into this whole other community by having a presence online with my Google business page and with the website, because I have the website on the Google business page. So it's so powerful. It can be such a powerful tool.
Yeah, to speak, technically about some of the points you just went over, one of the things that you were talking about is, that, you blog a lot. You started on WordPress.com and you moved over to WordPress.org. Blogging, we all understand why blogging is so important. You got to be able to tell your story. You got to connect with your audience, etc. But I found that, in my experience, I haven't run into a whole lot of people that blog well. Like, they'll blog for months and months and months and months, and nobody will be looking at them. Or, they're scratching their heads going, how come no one's reading our stuff? And like, I've seen how you've set your system up, which reminds me of a lot of other success models that I've seen. And it's just, Sarah is blogging like every day or like every other day, and she's emailing it out to all of her people. And she has like a ton of different lists. She has that, the social capital behind her brand that I feel a lot of people miss out on. And it's simply just from telling your story. It's simply just, it's not talking about your brand and like how awesome you are and look at all these things that I did. It's, you go to Sarah's blog and it's always about you. It's always about what you want. It's always about what, you, the user, the viewer, the new person on the website, like she's always it feels like she's talking directly one-on-one with you. And that's like the best way to do it. I have some competitors in the Buffalo area that, that are like developers, website companies, etc. And they just talk about how awesome they are. And it's just like, it's such a turnoff. And I don't see their engagement grow. I don't see any of this other stuff. And it's like, you got to talk about the user. You got to connect, you got to try and connect with people. And I think Sarah does an incredible job of doing that. The technical piece behind this too is that every time Sarah's blogging, every time Sarah is talking about her brand or, you know, what she does, or she's talking about all of her keywords, you know, Google's paying attention. You know, just by looking at some of the back end data on her site, you know, people are going to her site for, you know, like life coaching, Buffalo, New York. There's one here, life coaching services in Utica, New York. And like, she's ranking well for that. You know, salsa lessons, salsa dancing, salsa Buffalo, all these things. And like, Sarah's showing up like top 10, or like she's showing up high enough that people are clicking on her website and going, hey, who's this person? And that's, you know, that starts to talk about SEO a little bit. And there's a lot of misinformation about there when it comes to SEO. And I feel like I was lucky enough to have like an incredible mentor that really understands like the system and understands how to get ranked top 10 for like a city, or like, you know, what they call local SEO. Cause like, to me now, it just makes complete sense. And Sarah, you and I've talked about it a little bit, but it all starts with the website. It all starts with making sure that the website is just bulletproof, that you have content, that you have pictures, that you have the videos, and in the videos you're talking about your keywords and your brand and what you do, and the design makes sense and it's responsive, and machines can read it. I don't know how many times I mentioned that to you, Sarah. I feel like I like beat it over your head. I was just like, you know, make sure Google can read it. Make sure Google loves it. Like, I think this is really cool, but we got to do this too.
Right. And for me, I still am going, I have no idea what he's talking about, because, you know, Zachary and I speak different languages about this stuff, and I'm starting to learn more. However, what I want to touch on is how largely for me it's intuitive. Like, the words that are coming through they're the words that I want to speak. You know, they're the words that are coming through me to be spoken. I'm just trusting that, and I'm taking little baby steps. I put a lot of stuff on my plate, so I'm doing my best to chunk it down into projects. And really, like, this project alone was a huge project that took about 3 months to actually launch the website. And it wasn't all actively like focusing those whole 3 months, but, you know, we started talking about it. And from that point to the launch, it took about 3 months. And so it definitely is a process. And one of the things that you've really helped me with, Zachary, and just for all of you entrepreneurs out there, and new entrepreneurs even, I was very active in blogging for about a year or two, starting in about 2012. And then I just didn't have that urge to write a lot for a while. And it's kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit for me. But I still will sit down when the inspiration strikes. I will sit down and I will write a blog. And what Zachary's helped me with, though, is about a year ago or so, I went to the Small Business Development Office here in Buffalo and got some support from one of their mentors. And he said, you could really be creating a blog every time you have a new session of classes launching. So I literally just took his word for it, and I just started creating blogs that were mostly information, like giving class details, times, dates, all of that. And then one thing that you said that was really helpful, Zachary, was add value to those blogs. Like add something in front of all of that information that, you know, people can gain value from, and that helps them understand what you're doing, and helps kind of bring them in even more, you know, kind of ropes them in to want to read more, and then want to possibly engage in your services. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I, you know, went from just really blogging about my story and ideas to starting to add specific blogs about class information and stuff, but not adding a lot of story to that. And he was like, add story, tell your story before you give them the practical logistical information. And that has helped so much. I feel better about these blogs now because I am telling a story, and I'm doing more than just giving information, but you've really supported me to continue to evolve that process as well.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I started learning about narrative storytelling just years ago in college. That's what I studied. But as I started getting into, web design and like the technology world, like one of the biggest questions in the back of my head was, okay, how do we blend these two together? How do we use technology to tell stories? Um, and I don't think like there's always been kind of like a series of light bulbs for me that it was just like, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. I don't think it was until this last year when I was working with one of my partners and best friends who is really into online marketing, and like that's his world. And one of the things that they taught him in that world is if you're telling stories, like, well, one, the first point is to tell your story. Get clear on what your story is before you get in front of a camera. Like, you need to know who you are, what your purpose is, the elevator speech, all of those things. And it can't sound like it's rehearsed. It needs to be original every time. But like video is incredibly powerful. Video is by far the best way to get people's attention. Right out, underneath that is pictures. I was thinking about this last night. I was browsing through my Twitter feed and I'm looking at all the links, but every time I saw a picture, I stopped and I looked at the picture. And I did that like 4 or 5 times before I caught myself consciously doing it. And it's the same thing for video. If you can get a chance to, visually engage people in any way, whether that's through pictures, a gallery, or a video, like, do it. Absolutely do it. Like what we're doing right now, like with Hangouts and like trying to involve people, some folks that we've never even met before. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, everyone's always going to have this video to go back to, and we're going to be able to share this with our lists, and we're providing value, and we're also involving others. And that's so important. The only way you're ever going to be able to involve others is if you can find a way to tell stories and provide value. That's really what it comes down to.
And
don't
it's like that,
go ahead.
that level of connect with people. Yeah. I was reminded of, oh, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Go ahead.
I was reminded of what came to me earlier about involving people in my list and on social media about the website. Maybe you are not in the area, so we are not engaging in in-person classes, but you can engage with the website because it's virtual, and you can engage with it from anywhere in the world. You can give us feedback, and then you can find out about the virtual offerings that I have or Zachary has, or any entrepreneur out there. I think that that's another benefit of involving my general broader community in this process was, hey, you may not be in Buffalo, New York, but you're a part of our community, and we want to know, how is this for you? How does it work? Do you have feedback? It's just another way to build that bridge from like in-person business in one location to a broader community that's around the country, in the world, Mars, when we head up into outer space.
Yeah, it's soon going to be Mars if Elon Musk gets away. Absolutely. And like, I found, if you can tap into the communication and like the methods that technology can offer, whether that's through a Google Hangout or a Skype call, or just doing like a Hangout on your phone even. I have people that I work with, partners, friends, clients, like all over the country. And, 15 years ago, this might not have been possible, the whole connecting with people all over the place. And I feel like I can go to any major area in the country and like say like, hey, I know somebody, like I worked with this person, and, we keep in touch on email or chat, or like, hey, we've done business before. So, I mean, this stuff is incredible. Like, use it. Absolutely. I guess too, if you're a creative professional or you're a creative entrepreneur, like, you're a blogger or an artist or, anything like that, or you do something interesting. use videos to tell your story. Like, absolutely, like, talk about it. Use videos, use pictures, get it on the internet, because really then the whole world can see it and you can start connecting with other people. And two, just to reiterate, when you have people that connect with you, whether that's on Facebook, LinkedIn, you know, Google Plus, you know, whatever, through your website, save their emails, and use a system or like a platform like GetResponse, and communicate with them regularly. Something like GetResponse or like MailChimp. There's a few other good ones out there that integrate very well with websites, but it helps you manage your lists, and it also tells you if people are reading your emails and if they are connecting with you, and
Right.
or are they spamming your emails, because you know that'll tell you like, hey, you got to change your story up a little bit. You know, luckily I haven't had that happen too many times, but it definitely happens, especially when your lists start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But yeah, definitely, like, use those tools that are out there to, you know, tell your story, to reach out to more and more people, and give them a call to action. Give them something to do. You know, you send an email out and you're like, okay, read my blog post. When they get to your blog post, they read your story. Then what happens? Are they buying something? Are they signing up for something? Are they, you know, setting up an appointment? Or, you know, what is it they're doing? You know, you got to get clear about those things. I feel like we've been pretty good about that for your site. I feel like on, you know, every page or almost every page, there's a call to action somewhere, and it's you know, right in your face, and it's like, hey, do this thing. Like, this is what Sarah wants you to do. This is what'll give you value. And it took us a little while to get to that point, but I think like we did it. I think we pulled it off.
And two, that will continue to, I know, evolve, and we'll fine tune it and tweak it and finesse it to continue to reach our ideal clients, reach my ideal clients, and be able to serve people in an ultimate way of, hey, this is what I've got. Is this something that will support your journey, solve your issue, and here's how you can engage with me. So it's really a simple process, and one that I have a feeling will continue to evolve until I'm dead.
No, that's a good point. That touches on something that I tell everyone that I work with, and that is, you know, that design, technology, I mean, particularly design and art in general. Anybody who's ever written like a poem or a short story or did a drawing, and you look at it like years later, you're like, man, it's not done. I just want to add this one little thing. I just want to do this one little thing. And the same thing applies to websites. The design is never done. You're chasing the dragon for the rest of your life. But that's the beauty of it too, is you can continue to improve it over and over and over again, and just make it better and better and better.
Yeah.
So ultimately, design is a service. It's not a product. If you have a website and it was designed for you and it's just been sitting there like a brochure on the internet, you're doing it wrong. You should be updating it weekly. You should be talking on it weekly. You should be using it as the incredible, powerful tool it can be, right? Yeah. And
I think that,
yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons why I rank so high, because I am constantly updating the site. I'm constantly adding new things or changing dates or whatever. I don't know anything about SEO really, but for some reason I rank really high, and I've never had, you know, Zach's the first person I've ever had like do specific SEO stuff on my site, but it's like amazing. Just posting blogs regularly, changing dates, adding photos, all that kind of stuff. For some reason, I feel like it keeps the site fresh, and it keeps it up there in the public's eye.
Yep, exactly. You know, more and more as the years go on, and you know, if you go into Google and you just type in like, you know, history of Google algorithms, you know, that algorithm tells like the complete story of how search engines work, of how, you know, what's important to search engines, right? And like I said, there's a lot of information out there, and a lot of it is very misleading. And if you do your homework and you go to the right places, like, and you talk to the right people, you talk to people who've done it, or they can show you examples of what they've done, then it's like, okay, you're good. But as far as the algorithms go, every year they're updating it because they want to see brands, they want to see individuals, like you, Sarah, or like any other creative entrepreneur or individual. They want to see forces that engage people. They want to see how people like you and me, or the guy walking down the street, what gets him excited on when he goes to a website. How does he engage with something? What gives him that decision to click buy or to sign up? And Google's always changing its algorithm based on that. They want to see how people behave, right? So if you just do what Google wants, if you just give them an incredibly engaging site, and you're talking about, your business, and you're very thorough with it, you don't just, like, your homepage just isn't like one paragraph or two paragraphs. It's like maybe 4 or 5, and you got a video and you got a bunch of icons, and you're just talking about what you do. If you just give Google what Google wants, they'll reward you for it. I was incredibly surprised and like delighted when we started your project with the older website that was there. You were ranking really well for salsa dancing, all that stuff, like in Western New York, just all by yourself. And there was no there was like no SEO on that site anywhere. The best thing that you were doing is you were driving traffic to your site, and you were staying consistent about blogging. You were doing it almost every day, every other day. And it was like, it goes to show that like just that alone is enough to carry you really far.
Oh, sorry, Zach, finish your point.
Well, I was going to say, too, I've seen examples of, for like local SEO and different types of SEO, it helps like the little guy, like the average Joe small business owner, like get ahead. I've seen examples where, you follow all the rules down to a T. You can beat out major firms that are spending tens and thousands of dollars on marketing every year. One of my partners that I work with, he did some work, for some attorneys in Buffalo, and like he's beating out Salino and Barnes. And these are the guys on the billboards. These are the guys you hear about on the radio and on the television. And these are the guys that are spending tens and thousands of dollars, and it's just like they just don't know how to drive traffic to their site. I don't even know if their website's responsive, actually. That'd be funny. Wow. But yeah, like if you just do what Google wants, like they will definitely reward you for it. Okay, their site is responsive. Like,
well, and I'm feeling like maybe we can transition just to see if anybody has any questions. You can just open up your chat and enter them in the chat bar, right?
Yep, I think so.
And what I wanted to say is, just to be more realistic, I'm not blogging every day or every other day, but probably once a week, maybe sometimes twice a week, but definitely at least 4 or 5 times a month, regularly adding something new up there, or changing dates and times for a class or whatever. So I feel like even that alone is like, there are times when I've blogged a lot more. I think maybe I even did my own blogging challenge and literally wrote something when I first started every day for like 6 weeks, something, whether it was super short or super long, whatever. But yeah, just to give a little bit more of a, a realistic version of that, but still enough that it's engaging and people are coming, and I'm posting blogs on social media and I'm sharing. And even for my Huffington Post blogs and Owning Pink blogs, creating a blog on my site that links them to those sites, just to keep people informed. I think that that's a powerful thing. One of the main things is give people information and then connect with them through your story, telling your story, and find out what problems they want solved and guide them to how I can support them in solving their own issues. And getting to where they want to go in their lives. So amazing tool.
One of the items that you just went over, it's funny, every time I work with somebody new, or if anybody is, in the industry or in a related industry, and we talk, when we start talking about SEO, it gets interesting because there's always a point in the conversation where they mention something that's like really important, and they're doing it, but they're doing it for a different reason, and maybe they don't see how important it is that they're doing it. And one of the things that I just heard, Sarah, was, you were talking about how you link to, your Huffington Post blog, and you link to Owning Pink, and you link to these other high authority websites that have just crazy amounts of traffic on them, and Google loves them. If on your blog or your website, if you find ways to connect with big brands like that, absolutely do it. If you have like a Huffington Post blog, or you're partners with somebody who's had a website in your area since like 1990, like have them talk about you on their website. Like get those links going back and forth to each other's websites, because it ends up helping each other a lot. It's not just who can engage the most people. It's not just who's the most exciting brand. It's also, who's the most connected, who is talking to others, who's like, is this business friendly, or are they an island that's sitting all alone in the middle of, in their own space on the internet? Google loves businesses and brands that are communicating to other ones. And of course, there's different levels of it. You want to communicate to local ones. You want to communicate to some really big ones like Huffington Post. And in some cases, you might want to communicate with some that, maybe they don't have as much traffic or, as much love as your site has. But in some cases, it can be helpful. So I'm really glad you brought up that point.
I'm wondering, do you think people can type in questions in the chat?
That is a good question. Let me see here.
I also see a Q&A box as well.
Okay.
Okay, that looks like that's disabled.
Yeah, for some strange reason. Okay. Control panel. Yep, that's okay. I don't want that.
If anyone has any questions or comments, and you want to try opening up your chat box, and you can also copy and paste all of these awesome, amazing, very clear notes Zachary's been typing out. Thank you for that.
There's also this link too. Like, if you can't use the Q&A, it's weird. Like, I'm still learning some things with Google Hangouts. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
But you can use this link right here, and that'll take you to the event page.
Great.
And you should be able to make comments.
Oh, great.
Right in there, yeah.
Okay, good. And is there any way, Zachary, that we can post these notes on the event page as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be great.
Yep.
So that people can see these. I'm actually even going to highlight these so that I can share them with my list, because I think that they're great points that we've talked about today. And I just want to share just how grateful I am. I feel like lucky and supported to work with somebody like Zachary Straub. And, I'm just really lit up and feel alive about this whole process, and especially collaborating together for all you entrepreneurs out. It's a great way to communicate with different people, with different audiences, and share more value, share more about what you're doing, learn more from other people that maybe you wouldn't necessarily reach, or they wouldn't be interested in what you're offering until they meet you in this kind of way. So for Zachary and I to collaborate in this way, it was very exciting. It was also a little bit nerve-wracking, like, oh, new territory, new ground, never done this before. And I am so happy and excited that we have done this together, and who knows what else is possible. It just feels like an amazing way to share and support and serve and connect.
Yep. Yeah, Sarah, I feel exactly the same way. Whenever I start a new project, I'm always, there's always that little voice in the back of my head that it's like, okay, what's this person going to be like? Are they going to be, are they going to be open? Are they going to be friendly? Are they going to be strictly professional? Are they going to drive me nuts? And it's always kind of like a roulette every time. Especially too, because, my world is, 80% of the time I'm talking to computers. I'm writing in code, or I'm working on, I'm interacting with apps and websites and stuff. So like, most of the time, it feels like when I talk to people, a lot of what they ask me isn't logic based. And in order to make websites work, you have to be logic based, right? So it's like, it's always a surprise and like a real joy when I get to find somebody that I can just work with and connect with. And it's like, yeah, like she's got it. She's got the vision. I'm totally going to help her on this. And if there's any, like, I felt comfortable throughout the entire process. Whenever you had a question, like just being able to say, okay, like that was a really good question. Here's my answer. Here's my suggestions. What do you think? And it was always give and take every single time. And it was great. I've had some relationships where, oh yeah, I meant to say this too, is that, when people come in to, work with me, it's like my relationship with technology is very good. It's not that story for everybody. I have sometimes people coming to me asking me to fix or do some damage control that somebody else did already. And it's like, oh no, like they're already walking into the relationship with kind of like either a chip on their shoulder, or they're not trusting technology as much. And, that can be rough to navigate sometimes. I feel like I've been really fortunate in being able to, either fix other people's mistakes. That was like a really big thing in 2014. Like, hey, we hired some company and we found you. Can you fix it? And it's like, yeah, okay. But, I feel like your relationship with technology was really strong, like going into the relationship. And I think that made an incredible difference in how we work together. Yeah.
I'm curious, can we talk very briefly as we close here about your experience with, I'm taking a risk here offering this, I didn't check in with you ahead of time, but dancing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, part of, Sarah's and my agreement when we, decided to work together was, when I was younger, I took dance lessons. I loved it so much. And it was ballroom dancing. It was a bunch of things. It was salsa and swing and foxtrot and all the happy stuff. Waltz, etc. I loved swing dancing. That was my absolute favorite. At the time when I was younger, I used to do it every chance I could. I was one of those like dorks like that would try to randomly dance with girls at parties. Like, hey, here's how you swing dance, and they're just like, oh my god. So I loved it as a kid, and I loved that when Sarah, you and I met. I think it was our friend Alex Fernandez that introduced us, and through your sister Laura, and yeah, exactly. And I found out that you taught dance lessons and all that. I'm like, wow, this is an incredible opportunity to connect with something that I love again. I'm an adult, and day to day things are just so serious and routine, and like this is a great way to just kind of break away from that. So. Part of our agreement was I got to take salsa dancing lessons again. And, I invited my girlfriend who, she'll swear to the end of time she has 2 left feet and cannot move or swing her butt to save her life. But it was really cool because, by the second or third lesson in, like she was getting it and then things were clicking. And, being able to have her there and have that experience and see, her mind get changed a little bit was just beautiful. Shortly after our lessons were over, we went to one of our friends' weddings, and we just tore up the dance floor. We were rocking. We were sexy. We were beautiful. People were looking and just like, who are these people? And it was just like, we had like Sarah, our spirit animal, there that day. And it was great.
That is so great.
Yeah. So, for anyone watching, that, you're thinking about dance lessons, you're thinking about anything to do with like spiritualism, the yoga, the life coaching piece, like Sarah is a wonderful, beautiful human being just to be around. I really encourage you to just check it out. Like, take a dance lesson, try it. Especially if you're in a couples relationship or you got like a best friend or you're looking to get like a really cool first date or something, like totally do it. Just totally do it. And yeah, all that information is right on our website. So
yes, thank you so much. I know it was an absolute joy to work with Zach and his girlfriend, and just this whole process has been really cool. And until we meet again, friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will, I'm going to keep an eye on all the questions here for, what's on the event page. And once the YouTube video is ready, we're going to shoot that out to everyone. And, I have a really quick link here that I wanted to share. If you guys are interested in signing up for, here we go. Yep. If you guys are interested in signing up for email updates, you want to hear more about Sarah's story or, what I'm doing, go to this address right here and just fill in the information. We just need your name and your email, and we'll send you some updates here and there. One of the things I know that Sarah does really well is she has like deals and discounts and stuff, and they kind of just show up randomly. So if if you're paying attention, you're definitely going to get some value from her. And then for me, I mostly like to talk about just my journey with technology. And, I give out deals too. You're looking for a new website, or you want to get ranked on Google, or, you need some love on Facebook or Twitter or any of those things. Like, I know how to do all those things. So, yeah, feel free to join or, give either one of us a call.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah,
Signing off for now.
wrap things up. Thank you so much, Sarah. I'll send out the video soon. And yeah, take care, everyone.
Okay, bye. Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
Love.
Much love.